Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. Welcome to our TeloYouth Friday webinar. I am Dr. Tina Johnson. With me is Dr. Chris Morris. Combined, we have over 65 years of naturopathy, creating wellness formulas, leading edge wellness formulas, and that's what brings us here to TeloYouth. Good morning, Dr. Chris.
Good morning, Dr. Tina, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We just love your participation and so glad you're here. And why don't we get started here, Dr. Tina?
We sure will. This is a necessary topic, and today we're going to talk about sleep. There are some new studies that are out, and we want to cover those for you today. So go ahead, Dr. Chris.
Sure. One of the key things that we emphasize always is that we're energy beings first. And energy means, how we respond to light. So our natural circadian rhythms, our cycles, allow us to make energy during the day and be active, and then just shut down the body to heal and repair, to sleep at night. And melatonin is a very powerful hormone that we get primarily out of the pineal gland, but it's released throughout the body and available, but predominantly 10 times higher amounts is released during the nighttime. And the thing to emphasize here is that it plays a key role on how we handle that cycle, because we talk about our formulas and the ability for the TeloYouth and the TeloOmega to reduce stress, because the cortisol is the stress hormone which you need for the energy during the day. But when we have it at night, which is very dominant in our culture, we lose the ability to sleep. So this is why we're emphasizing the importance of understanding about melatonin, not so much the science and to get into the hormones and all the dynamic effects, as much as understand how important it is to release it so you can sleep and heal and repair at nighttime, and understanding how important your natural cycles are. So, Dr. Tina, do you want to emphasize a little bit more about the hormone itself?
I do. I want to mention this pineal gland. You know, it's small, but it's so powerful. And this can become calcified. A lot of things that will calcify this pineal gland is actually toxins or chemicals, chemical exposure. Now, the good news is the body can clean itself up if you're doing all the right things and decalcify some of these glands. So, and we have seen this done with changing diet, lifestyle, obviously TeloYouth and TeloMega. So, just know that, we talk about this pineal gland, but and again, it looks so small compared to the brain, but it's a regulator. It helps to regulate so much in the body as well as our sleep cycle. Well, let's talk about this cycle. We've got, those hormones that we mentioned, which are so important. Cortisol. There's cortisol producing foods that we eat that cause a stress response. If you have that fat around the belly, that insulin resistance, just know that you are engaged in eating cortisol foods, or your stress is always so high that it's causing that cortisol adrenaline imbalance. So a lot of people are stuck in this stress response, whether it is, their stress that they're feeling or sensing throughout the day, the foods, the toxins. And, when we're stuck in this cycle, then we are not in the thrive response. And the thrive response happens when we get to go to sleep, when our melatonin is high. And so you can see melatonin is high over here, and cortisol is actually higher over on the stress side. So we need to have a definite balance between them, because all of our hormones are actually very important to us. So in order to keep this balance, our TeloYouth is clinically proven to reduce this cortisol, to help us handle stress better, and so that we can move into that thrive response. And we do see that people have major changes in their hormones, and in their life and in their relationships because they move out of that stress response and move into that thrive response. Dr. Chris, anything to add here?
Yes, just to emphasize that when we talk about hormones, like the melatonin, and we talk about cortisol and the studies that show the reduction of cortisol and the increase of DHEA, are the importance of is lifestyle that your body makes these hormones because they're so let's say proliferate, and they do so many things. And when they're artificially induced through conventional medicine, which is again necessary sometimes, but when you don't have to do the conventional artificial approach and you do it naturally, you have so much more dynamics in the body, the orchestration that goes on in the body, and the time of the scheduling, the day and the night, is so important. So this is why the TeloYouth and the TeloOmega help you with our hormones and allow you to manufacture them naturally so that you get into reducing the stress response so that you can sleep better. And then you see why the studies have shown the DHEA increases and you get all the other steroidal hormones, the estrogens and testosterones, the things that we talk about that conventional medicine emphasizes, but they don't really help you naturally and they do it artificially. So
Right.
we're really
Yeah.
trying to help you understand your own lifestyle, do it naturally.
Yeah.
Dr.
And I
Tina.
want to be a little more direct about it. Here's the deal, people. You go to the doctor, and if your hormones are out of balance, they are not going to say, oh, let's help you with your stress. They're going to say, oh, let's prescribe you testosterone or estrogen. They may even prescribe you DHEA right now. And when you can take that over the counter, or you can get melatonin. Look, your body can make these. You just need to get out of this response and get into the thrive response, because supplementing on this level is less effective than your body making it on its own. Okay.
Great. And again, to emphasize that our culture just thrives on high cortisol because we're always under stress. And the ability to kind of mediate that stress allows these wonderful balances that happen. So, let's emphasize the dangers and why we're showing you how we're trying to balance that. The melatonin disruption, which again doesn't allow you to heal and repair. The stem cell rejuvenation process is inhibited. Again, so important to staying young and healthy, rejuvenating. The increases of risk of disease and premature death. So accelerated the breakdown of the telomeres, which is the stem cells that break down. We look older because our collagen has destroyed and broken down 10 times faster. And we emphasize in our other presentations how we support the collagen repair and build back the whole body's construction mechanisms. So, it just goes on and on here, Dr. Tina, to show how important it is to reduce that cortisol at the nighttime and balance the routines in the body. So you see that just you take back your life and prevent so much chronic degenerative conditions that we show there at the bottom of the page.
Right. And if you or someone you know or love is dealing with a heart attack, a stroke, or high blood pressure, tumors, depression, blood sugar dysregulation, Alzheimer's, kidney failure, or more, just know they have cortisol that is out of balance. And that's when it's out of balance for a long time. So a little bit of cortisol is very effective. We have to have it when you're lifting weights or when you're exercising. Your cortisol is going to go up, but then it needs to naturally come back down and be balanced. So when it's locked in, not effective. When it's a little bit and comes back down, oh my gosh, very effective. And this is what we help you to your body to do naturally on its own. So let's talk about some of the things that you can do to make sure you are getting sleep. This is so important. When our sleep is disrupted, we are moving into the accelerated aging phase. I really want people to understand that when it's like everyone is now trying to say that, oh, well, you know what, I only get 4 hours of sleep and then I get up and then I go to the bathroom, or I only get 2 hours of sleep and I get up and go to the bathroom. That is not normal. Stop thinking it's normal. And you need to be able to get the 6, 7, or 8 hours continuously without waking up. So what do? You have to get some sunlight. You have to get out there in the sun. And best to get out there, in the morning, get that great sunlight in the morning. And you only need 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but get your skin exposed, your eyes exposed. One of the things that we see people overutilize is their sunglasses. Now, you have to be able to allow those rays of the sun to come into your eyes. It helps. Just think, the pineal gland, saw where that was, you guys, on that previous slide, or a few slides back. The pineal gland's in the brain. The eyes are connected in through the brain. So getting that sunlight in through the eyes is very critical for helping with melatonin. And then the diet is proven now to impact sleep. And this is where we want to focus today. There's now been some studies with the American Sleep Apnea Association, and they're reporting that 50 to 70 million people in the United States this order are challenged with sleep disorders. And a third of adults are consistently falling short of sleep that they need. So insomnia, again, when it becomes a widespread issue, everybody goes, oh, it's just kind of normal. No, it is not. It's very dangerous for us. So what can you do? There's now been some, okay, and think about it, people. Common sense is a superpower. Common sense, wouldn't common sense tell you that poor nutrition is linked to insomnia? Well, they're finally doing these studies, and there's a very strong link between ultra-processed foods and poor sleep. And they're showing that high consumption of these foods correlates with shorter sleep duration, lower sleep quality across all age groups, from our children to our elders. There's no one that is, I guess, what's that word I'm looking for? Everyone is exposed to this. It can happen to all of us. So what we need to do is look at the specific role of these high glycemic foods. What does that mean? It's the sugar foods, it's the breads, it's the higher glycemic foods, those sugary snacks, the sodas, and again, that white bread. When they did the studies around those foods, they found that there's 11% higher risk of reporting insomnia. And more alarmingly, their risk of developing insomnia increased by 16% over 3 years. And so avoiding bread and sugar isn't just about the fat around the belly anymore. It is truly affecting our circadian cycles. Dr. Chris, would you like to add? That was strange.
Just emphasize again how we're supporting the lifestyle. And here's some of the key tips that, as we continue down the list, all the tryptophan rich foods really support the ability for the melatonin to be manufactured. The warm baths and hot showers before bed, and again, our emphasis to the artificial light and removing the electromagnetic fields that are just disrupting constantly, and especially before going to sleep, you got to turn off the non-native EMFs because they just stimulate the body as if it's daytime and you're supposed to be awake instead of going to sleep. and good exercise, helps you to reduce the stress and maintain the body's health and vitality. And one of the areas that we don't list here, but it just shows the chronic degenerative accumulation of sleep apnea. And those, so many people now know how they're using these CPAP machines in order to breathe at night. And the reason that they lose their breath is because they're inflamed, they're overweight, they're obese, especially with men. They see the hormone imbalance with men, and this increased sleep apnea just is just degenerating and creating a lot of problems. Dr.
Yeah.
Tina.
Okay, couple other things. Back to the diet real quickly. I just want everyone to understand that, there is a silver lining when you're eating these uh, tryptophan rich foods. Um, know that, if you're eating fruits, that is your whole fruit. They're finding that that's okay to eat so that you can get in the good fiber along with the fruits to help with your sleep. So just know you don't have to get rid of the good whole fruits because it does have the fiber. So if you increase your vegetables, and increase your other good fiber foods like salads and get those in, that's going to help with your sleep. But the other thing, back to the sleep apnea, Dr. Chris, so many people that I work with, uh, I tell them if they're on a sleep apnea machine, first of all, you're dealing with that bad bacteria every day if you don't clean that machine perfectly and, you know, uh, get that all that bacteria out, you're just going to recycle that. And we're finding that people are having sinus issues, right? And lung issues. Sure, you might be able to get some sleep at night, but one of the things I'm converting people over to doing is putting a little bit of tape on their mouth. And part of the problem is people are sleeping with their mouths open because of the stress. If you look at a baby sleeps with their mouth closed. They breathe through their nose unless they have a cold. So putting a little piece of tape on the top lip over the bottom lip and do that for a month. You will retrain your subconscious mind to breathe through your nose. You will find that you will not get up to go to the bathroom because the oxygen is now going to get to the brain while you're sleeping, whereas your body will wake itself up if you're not getting enough oxygen to the brain. It's a survival response. But what happens when you're breathing through your mouth, the oxygen goes down through into your gut versus up into the brain. So that is a very simple way. And if that doesn't work alone and you still have to wear one of those breathe right tapes to go over your nose to lift up the nose to open up the nostrils, those in combination can even work really well. So if there's a way to get off of a sleep apnea machine, I have people try that and it's been very successful.
All right, and let's just wrap things up here again. And our sleep dude that we like to show a lot, it talks about again the importance of having that good sleep. And you see the connection here: the low energy, low resiliency, greater stress, more cortisol, less melatonin, and less melatonin means less sleep. And we have a cultural phenomena that goes on to understand that there's sleep deprivation and sleep issues in our culture because there's a coffee shop in every corner of the city. You know that people are dependent upon getting the stimulation they need because they're sleep deprived. And why not let's reestablish the good lifestyle that we're talking about, all these good tips that allow you to get that good sleep so that you don't have the dependency on the stimulation, the artificial stimulation. You see all the drinks and the shops and the coffee shops and the drinks that are being made available that are just predominant, the Red Bull and things like that have gotten started. So, Dr. Tino, it's a phenomena, and it's just showing that how sick the culture is and how illness and disease is prevalent. Okay.
And, we have control over our diets. We have control over our lifestyle. So that's what these Fridays are about. What can you do that can support your rejuvenation process? So little tips and tricks. Hopefully you had some insights today that were helpful, and know that you need to get that deep sleep. It is critical in your rejuvenation process and staying young and looking young, feeling young.